Because a lot of international students, when they are considering a study destination, they're looking at factors relating to employability. Can I get a job during my studies? Can I get a job after my studies?
If a student works 20 hours per week, then the minimum salary is around 960 euros per month. It's the minimum, right?
Yeah,
so we have
the
students
minimum,
who earn
yeah.
like
So you
50
get more than
euros,
that,
we have
yeah.
students who earn 23 euros per hour.
Yeah.
So it really depends,
Yeah.
So usually for bachelor students, the starting salary is between 38 to 60,000 euros per year.
Hello viewers, thank you for joining us once again. This is the Best Education Insight series, where you get nothing but the best of accurate information that helps you to make your study abroad choice. My name is Ishmael Muslim, and the General Manager at Best Education Services. So many of you know us for our excellent work in the UK, in Australia, in the US, in Canada. But today we're going to be bringing you something different, something very, very exciting. It is a country that a lot of you have heard about or know about, you know, because many people from some part of Ghana usually go there to trade a lot. And so we know that country, you know, but not very many of us understand the opportunities when it comes to international education in that country. So today we're going to be turning our attention to Germany. So Germany is one of those countries that we know about, and there are very exciting opportunities, you know, for international students. So I'm not going to be doing this alone. Joining me is my very wonderful able guest. I'll be introducing her shortly. She is Director of Business Development at one of the top-ranking universities, you know, in Europe, and I'm referring to the University of Europe for Applied Sciences. Welcome, Leila.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, is this your first time in Ghana?
It is actually, yes.
Yeah.
It's the first time here.
How long have you been so far?
Just 2 days.
Just 2 days?
So yes, everything's very, very exciting.
Great.
And new to be here.
Yeah, and how are you finding the weather?
It's okay. It's not as hot as I expected, so it's good.
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
And just on a lighter note, have you had the best meal so far? The jollof rice?
I did actually. I did yesterday. Yes,
how did you find that?
I loved it.
Yeah.
And I tried kelewele.
Oh, fantastic.
Which was amazing. Yes.
Wow,
yes.
wow. Please don't tell our brothers Nigerians that you loved it, otherwise they'll crucify you. Right. So thank you so much, Leila, for coming all the way to Ghana. And we at Best Education Services are very proud, you know, to host you today. And so we are going to be looking at education in Europe, and also talking about the University of Europe and what they offer international students. But to set the ball rolling, could you please tell us what Germany is like now? Because we know a lot of countries are going through, you know, a lot of economic, you know, crisis or situation. So what is the latest development in Germany, and why is Germany increasingly becoming such an attractive destination, you know, for international students globally?
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, a lot of countries are facing inflation at the moment and economic difficulties. Nonetheless, Germany is still the 4th largest economy globally.
Okay.
And the German population is slowly decreasing, so we are generally very open for skilled people to come to Germany to work there and also to study there.
Yeah.
And it's a great opportunity to come to Germany. Everything is also becoming more and more international.
Okay.
I know that a lot of people are afraid of the language barrier, right? They think I need German in order to get around.
Yeah.
But it's not like this anymore.
Really?
So it's very international. For example, if you go into a cafe in Berlin, it's very possible that the person who serves you only knows English also.
Wow,
so
that's good
our
to know.
students get around with English really well.
Yeah.
And our programs are also taught fully in English.
Oh,
Yes.
fantastic. So Do you know how many Ghanaians are currently studying in approximately how many Ghanaians are studying in Germany?
Yeah, so according to the DAAD, which is the German Academic Exchange Service, we currently have around 3,000 Ghanaian students in Germany.
Okay, and I believe the number is going to go up, pretty shortly in the coming years.
Oh, every year, our international student population is increasing. Yes.
Oh, okay. So talking about international student population, I know for African students, actually, that's one of our deciding factor. We don't want to go to a place where we're the only black person, in the whole of the community, and it's so refreshing to know that you mentioned use the word international community. So how many different sort of nationalities would you find in a typical German community?
Well, I can tell you how many different nationalities we have at UE.
Yeah.
So last year we had 104 different nationalities on our campus.
Oh,
so we are one of the most diverse German private universities.
Yeah, all right. So that's great to know. And let's look at the economic environment again, because a lot of international students, when they are considering a study destination, they're looking at factors relating to employability. Can I get a job during my studies? Can I get a job after my studies? What is the German policy or the German system, like when it comes to employability of international students?
So as I mentioned before, Germany is very open to have skilled people stay and work in Germany. So, and this obviously counts for international students who then graduate in Germany and have a German degree. So during the studies, the students can already work. So students can work 20 hours per week.
20 hours per week during their studies?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, and our focus is on the practical aspect during their studies. So, depending on the program, there are mandatory internships. We always have companies come to campus. We visit companies. So most of our students already build their professional network while they study. And in fact, 71% of our master students already secure a full-time job while they study. So this is a huge success. And this is what we focus on. Our professors are all from the field, so they still work in their respective field while they teach with us. So the professors help. We have an excellent career center. So generally, also the post-study work options for students are really, really good. They will get additionally 1.5 years of stay back, and in those 1.5 years, they have time to find a job that is related to their field. And I haven't heard of any student who actually did not manage to find a job in Germany.
Okay, great. So just to reiterate, the two key points is that during your studies, you have up to 20 hours a week, during your studies. And the University of Europe would assist in terms of the structure, help you find, internship opportunities that help you build your profile, towards a better career choice in Germany.
Yes.
And once you complete your studies, you would have 1.5 years of post-study work visa, to remain and work full-time, in Germany.
Correct.
Right.
And also the 1.5 year post-study work visa is extendable twice for half a year each. So technically, they could even extend it to 2.5 years. But to be fair, most of our students find a job already much earlier. And then once you find a job that is related to your field, you can then convert it to a work visa. And then after a certain amount of time, you can apply for PR, and then you can apply for citizenship.
Oh, that's exciting, because we like the citizenship part. That's one of the main motivations. So it's nice to know that there's a possibility of getting citizenship, in Germany through the education, route.
Absolutely, and the German government. So we really need international people to come and stay in Germany. And until 2060, we more or less need around 400,000 people to really migrate and stay in Germany in order to keep our social security system running. So currently they're negotiating to reduce the amount of getting citizenship from 8 years to 5 years. It's going to be a little bit easier for people to find employment, to get a work visa, and also they're very open for international students. So the development is very positive on the international market. And also when it comes, for example, for the part-time jobs, the minimum salary in Germany is 12 euros per hour.
Wait, let me take that again.
Yes.
12 euros per hour?
Yes. So if a student works 20 hours per week, then the minimum salary is around 960 euros per month.
Okay.
And this is enough for their living cost, rent, etc. So it's already quite a decent salary for students while they study, and this is the minimum. So especially for master students, for example, who already hold a bachelor degree, they are already qualified, and then they can earn much more hourly.
Yeah.
And our career center really helps our students to focus and to help them get jobs that are already related to their study field, so they already have a good network.
Yeah.
In Germany, we have a concept that is called working student contract.
Okay, working student contract.
Students then will work in a company that is in the industry of their studies, and many of them then get taken over by the company afterwards also.
Okay.
So we have different opportunities and concepts in Germany.
So that's exciting you mentioned that, because reading from your website, I could see you, University of the Europe, have about 150 industry partners, across Europe. So that's quite, that's true what you're saying, that definitely there will be a possibility to be able to connect students to relevant employment, in Germany, which is very, very important, for students to be aware of. Right. So we're going to turn our attention to the University of Europe, because that's going to be the vessel that students are going to use to launch onto an exciting career in Germany. So tell us a bit more about the University of Europe, the campuses, the programs, and let's hear it.
Yeah, so we are a German state-accredited University of Applied Sciences. And we are established since the year 2000, so we are very well known with employers in the market. We have a very large alumni community already, and we have 4 campuses in Germany. Our largest and most international campus is in Berlin, the capital of Germany. Then we have our UE Innovation Hub, where we teach our like software engineering, innovative programs, data science. This is in Potsdam. Potsdam is 25 kilometers outside of Berlin, and the students who study either in Berlin or Potsdam will get a semester ticket that gives them free access to all public transport, so they can also commute between the two cities. And our students who study in Potsdam, for example, still live in Berlin and then commute for 20 minutes. So the campuses are very close, which is very exciting for both the student communities. Then we have our 3rd campus in Hamburg. Hamburg is in the north of Germany. It's one of the largest ports in Europe. And it's the 2nd largest city in Germany also. And I think a lot of Ghanaian people live and work in Hamburg, so there's a huge Ghanaian population there.
There's a very popular way we pronounce Hamburg, but I'm not going to say that on set.
Okay.
I might get crucified. It's nice that you have a campus in Hamburg, because Ghanaians like to go closely where a lot of Ghanaians are. So it's really nice to know that, so people can feel very comfortable and they're going to an area where they're likely going to meet a Ghanaian, brother or sister, for any additional support that they may need. But also, so there's a fast train from Berlin to Hamburg, for example, and it takes, I think, like 2.5 hours. So it's also not very far, considering that it's 2 different cities. And then we have our 4th campus in Iserlohn. Iserlohn is in central West Germany, more towards the border with the Netherlands. And there we teach a lot of our German-taught programs, but also the Studienkolleg. The Studienkolleg is the bridge between basically it's the 13th year of education in Germany, and then students could go to a public university afterwards. So we also provide this pathway for students. And when it comes to our programs and faculties, so we have bachelor and master programs in the faculties of art and design, innovation, tech and IT, business and management studies, sports and event management, and psychology. And we will be expanding into healthcare and healthcare management. So we are currently in the process, and we will be launching a few more programs in the next few months, and I think healthcare is also very popular here. It is very popular. So we are very excited about this new development, and in a few months we will be having a few programs available. Right. My little advice if you launch healthcare is that you need to increase your recruitment staff. Because they're going to be bombarded with a lot of applications. Exactly. So we very recently
are the first German university who was able to launch a campus in Dubai. Okay. So we are incredibly excited about it. Our first intake is this September, and we started with 3 master programs. Yeah. So we have visual experience design. Then
visual experience design.
Yes, our master's in visual experience design, our MSc in data science, and our MSc in software engineering.
Software engineering.
In either 1.5 or 2 years. Okay. So those are the 3 programs we will be launching with in Dubai in September. Okay. And next year we will be offering MBAs and MBA specializations. Okay. And we will also be launching with 2 bachelor programs, our BSc in digital business and data science and our BSc in management studies. Wow. And in Dubai, I mean, it's a totally different destination, but there are so many different universities having their campuses, so it was just for us logical that we need a German campus there, and there's such a huge international student community, and Dubai is a very attractive destination, and students can work when they study with us, and there's the possibility of transferring to Germany, doing 1 semester there also. So they have a lot of different possibilities, and so this is a great offer that we have, and also we are doing the visa for the students.
Okay, so you process the entire visa.
Exactly. So if a student applies for Dubai, we are taking care of the visa for the students.
So that's great. I can see you've got programs covered across almost all the relevant sectors or all the areas that Ghanaians usually, go for or intend to pursue higher education, and so it's really refreshing that you've got a wide range of programs. So let's turn our attention to the cost of studies, because money is everything, So what is the average tuition like at University of Europe, probably compared to others?
Yes, so generally in Germany, so we are a private institution, so there is tuition fee, but compared to the UK, US, etc., it's really affordable. So our tuition fee is between 9,000 to 13,500 euros per year. Okay. Yeah. And then we have different scholarships in place. And the scholarships depend a little bit on the academics of the students and on the program they choose. So they can be between 5 to 50%.
Okay, 50%.
Yes. Okay. So, for example, if a bachelor applicant has a GPA of 90% plus, on the full bachelor program at the moment we have this amazing scholarship of 50% for them available. Okay. Yeah. Wow. And 1 year bachelor's is 12,100 euros. That would cut it down to 6,050.
Make it more very affordable. Yeah. Okay, that's good. So this bachelor what's the entry requirement for that?
Yes. So for the bachelor entry requirements for Ghanaian students, they need the WASE plus 1 year of university studies, or they need 3 A-levels, or they need an HND, and then they can study with us. Because our bachelor programs, they are 3 years, so they're not 4 years. I think here you study 4 years mainly, so the student would not lose any time. If they then start 1 year here already, right after the WASE, then it's like the 3 years that they then finish in Germany. So the duration would be exactly the same.
Okay, that's good. That's fantastic. So just as an example, so an HND student with first class, you mentioned 90% GPA, right? In terms of the 54 qualification for the 50% scholarship. Okay, so an HND student with about 90% GPA would qualify for the 50%.
Correct.
Is this awarded automatically, or does the student have to lodge an application for the scholarship?
No. The good thing is our admissions team will calculate the percentage with the final transcripts, and then the admissions team will get back to the student with the respective tuition fee that they will need to pay. But
that's fine. That's good. So in Germany, and again, when Ghanaians think about studying in Germany, most of them are looking at perhaps a public institution where they don't have to pay a tuition fee. Could you please explain to us what the differences are? A public university where they don't charge fees, and a private university where they have to pay fees.
Yes.
So what is the pros and cons of these two institutions?
Yeah. I mean, I am German myself, so I studied at a public institution, and I can now see the benefits also to study at a private institution. For example, so the entry requirements for international students at public universities are very, very high. Because ultimately this is something that the German government is giving to the Germans, right? To give them free education. So there's a cap on international students, so obviously they can set the entry requirements quite high. Academically, between us and between a public institution, there's really no difference. So it's exactly the same quality. And Germany is famous for their academic quality, because we are also state accredited, and we have system accreditation, industry accreditation, so it's exactly the same like the public ones. But so for example, at public universities, there's a dropout rate of international students of 49%, which is very high. And even for masters, the dropout rate of international students is still 28%. And the main reasons are the language barrier and also the lack of support. So there is very little extra support that the students are getting. For example, from my own experience, when I started studying, you get like 2 booklets, one with what you need to fulfill in your maybe 3 years bachelor's, and one other booklet with the information for the next semester. And then you need to sort out your timetable. Nobody is helping you. You need to find everything yourself. There's little support, and then the courses are so overcrowded that you don't get into the mandatory courses, and then your study time gets prolonged. So you can't really finish a bachelor degree in the 3 years of allocated study time. So students study 4.5 years, 5 years to finish their bachelor's. With us, they finish in their allocated time of 3 years. With masters, it's a little bit different, but bachelor is incredibly challenging. It's very theoretical. I mean, public universities focus a lot on research, so maybe for engineering programs or for more research-based programs, I recommend this because it's really, really good. But a student who's looking for employment and to really like kickstart their career and build their network while they study and then really go into a job afterwards, it's very hard sometimes when they graduate from a public university. Also not impossible, of course. But we give them like a different kind of support when it comes to their schedules, their like the whole study experience, career support, opportunities with companies, etc. So those are the main differences.
And how about assistance with developing the language proficiency? I'm always of the theory that yes, you could study in an English mode, teaching, but you're going to be interacting with a German community that will be largely speaking German. So whilst perhaps a student is studying at University of Europe, do they have opportunities to develop proficiency in German language to help them with their community engagement or job search interviews?
So when I mentioned that we have 104 nationalities, it doesn't mean that we only have international students. We actually have around 30 to 35% of our student population is German. And they also pay tuition fee. So there you can see that also German students study with us because they know what they get with us, what they cannot get from a public institution. So you will automatically make German friends, also on campus, which is very helpful when it comes to developing your German skills. We do offer, once a student is enrolled with us, we offer one level of German for 70 euros per semester. And then they can continue from A1 to A2 to B1, and we support the students so they can learn the language. And but as I mentioned, even for your visa application, it's not mandatory to show that you know a bit of German because it's fully taught in English. And you can get around in the beginning. But during your study time, I mean, a bachelor student is with us for 3 years. A master student is with us between 1 or 2 years. There's so much time to learn the language and make use of the offer that we also have. So it shouldn't be a problem, really.
So just to reiterate, the course duration for a bachelor's degree is 3 years, you mentioned. And the master's degree is 2 years or 1 year?
Or 1.5 years. So it depends on the background of the student. And most students here, I believe, go for a 4 years bachelor, right?
4 years,
Then they are eligible for our 1 year masters. And if a student study for 3 years, they are eligible for our 2 years masters.
2 years masters.
But then, so there are different qualifications which makes them eligible for 1.5 years. But I don't think you have those here in Ghana. But students sometimes even opt to study 2 years instead of 1 year because they would like to actually get the content and the experience that we offer in the 2 years. So we have a capstone project, for example, or they need more time for the thesis, etc., or they want to do a little bit more practical experience. So that would be up to the student. But generally, if you have a 4 years bachelor's, it's a 1 year master's. Yeah. We also offer MBA programs. We have our standard 1 year MBA, and only 1 year full-time work experience after graduation is required. And then we also have 4 MBA specializations for 1.5 years.
Okay, that's great. Does the duration of your program have any influence on the duration of your study, post-study work visa? No. Okay, so irrespective of the duration, you're still going to get your 1.5 years.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, yes. That's great to know. All work and no play, they say, make Jack and no. And I'm sure we used to, when we see on the screens, there's a lot of exciting, event that happens in Germany. So as a student, can you talk to us about, a typical student life like? What's life like in Germany aside academics,
Yeah. This is also very important because I mean it's a life-changing decision, and especially if you want to settle in a country, you need to know how it works. You want to go out, you want to meet new friends and experience everything. So from the university standpoint of view, we have our peers and our welcome buddies. So the students arrive, and then they get in touch with all the students. So we organize I don't know, football games sometimes, sports activities. Like a few weeks ago, they went mini golfing together. They have like barbecue nights. They have bar nights. So we give the students, a little sense of community, that they meet other students. So we organize a lot from the university. But also, Germany is the country with the most sports clubs in the world. We have more than 90,000 sports clubs for anything, really, and for any level. So any sports that anyone is interested or they will find a community. Then also culturally, I mean, Germany is very famous for music, etc. So any theaters, exhibitions, museums, etc. So anything that students are interested in, I think they can cover.
Certainly would. So there can be a balance, between studies and social life.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Which is fantastic.
And I mean, Berlin, Hamburg. There's excellent nightlife. Also, there's a huge student community. So it's also a lot of fun. And one important thing. When you study in Germany, you get the Schengen visa that gives you access to 26 countries, right? And Germany has 9 borders. So it's really easy to commute. So, for example, a student who lives in Berlin, they can do a day trip to the Czech Republic, to Prague, or to Poland. A student in Iserlohn is very close to Amsterdam. The students in Hamburg are very close to Denmark, and then there are. I did this a lot as a student also. You can take an overnight bus for 15-20 euros to Spain and spend the weekend there, right? So you get a few students together and you go for a weekend trip to Spain or Italy. So this is, I think that is a big advantage to study in Europe, because in the other countries you have the visa for this one specific country, and for Germany you get the Schengen visa.
That gives you access to several other countries. So that's fantastic. So good. Thank you so much for the information so far. Viewers, you're still listening to the Best Education Insight series. Today we are discussing Germany, and we're discussing the University of Europe for Applied Sciences. So there's still a lot more, to discuss. So let's talk about, how do you get into the University of Europe for Applied Sciences, either for an undergraduate degree program or a postgraduate degree program? What are the, the application requirements?
So I think it's pretty standard to every other university. So Ghana, for example, is exempt from English proficiency, so they don't need an English proficiency proof.
That's good.
And then we need a filled-in application form, scan of passport, all the transcripts, certificates. Sometimes when students graduate, they don't have the final certificate yet, but that's fine. They can apply with their transcripts, so that's not a problem. statement of purpose, and an up-to-date CV, and then obviously the right qualifications. So if they have a bachelor's degree, they can apply for the master's. The GPA needs to be for master's and for bachelor's like 60% plus minimum. If for master applicants it's a little bit lower, then they need to have a really strong application or maybe a bit of work experience, and then we could consider between 50 and 60% also. Yeah, and that's about it really. And then students get an offer from us, and then they need to pay a deposit of 3,000 euros.
3,000 euros.
Yes. So once we have this, we will issue the unconditional offer letter, and then the students can go to the embassy and start the visa
application.
Yes.
Okay, good. So let me look at, are there opportunities or pathways for students who do not meet the standard entry requirement? So for example, in the undergraduate segment, you mentioned that German degrees are 3 years, which means they need 13 years of education from primary to secondary, right, to get into German universities. Is that right? So for example, if a student was to graduate with a WASI or WASI system, which is 12 years of education, and if they apply to University of Europe, would they be admitted directly into the bachelor's degree, or they would have to do a foundation program, you know?
Yeah, so unfortunately with WASI we cannot accept them directly because our bachelor degrees are for 3 years. Exactly. So that they would need to do 1 year here already in order to be accepted. But that accumulates, as I mentioned, to the 4 years in total. So it's the same study duration. Yeah.
You mentioned that one of your campuses offers the 13-year high school.
Yes.
Okay. So is it possible for the WASI holders to go there for 1 year and then go directly into?
Unfortunately not. So this is now the difference between the public and the private institutions. So Germany has 16 states. And every state is allowed to decide over their own education law. We are registered in the state of Brandenburg, which is just outside of Berlin. And in that state, it's allowed to admit students after year 12 directly to our bachelor programs. Public universities, regardless, they don't do this. But in Ghana, there's because you have 4-year bachelor programs. This is why it's basically for other countries. The first year is like a foundation year, then basically, and then you have another 3 years, so it accumulates to 4 years. So, so with us, they can get the WASE 1 year of higher education, and then they get entry. For the Studienkolleg, that they are not eligible with this route because it's just a bit of a different process.
All right, that's understandable. And then so for the master's degree as well, if a student, you mentioned 50 to 60% as the average, you know, grade. So if a student was to have something lower, you know, let's say a 45%, you know, would it be like a pre-master's, you know, that the student can do to give them pathway into the master's, or nothing like that?
With 45%, it's a little bit difficult, to be honest. So if it's like 49% or something, we have a few exceptions, and if the student is really, really good, and if they can justify it, if they have relevant work experience. Otherwise, anything under 50% is a little bit difficult. But what we do have, we do have a master prep program, for example, but for Ghana that's also not really relevant because you're proficient in English, and this is mostly for students who are not that proficient in English. But we have a pre-master's. So if a student wants to do an MSc in International Business Management, but they maybe studied history in the undergraduate degree, they don't have the relevant knowledge that they need in order to successfully graduate from a business degree. So we offer one pre-master's semester, and during the semester they get 30 credits and all the knowledge that they need in order to successfully then graduate. So if a student wants to do career change, then we can facilitate this and give them an option.
That's fantastic then, because we have a lot of cases like that where students want to change careers or change programs. So it's good to know that they have there's a pre-masters that they can launch onto. All right, thank you. So when do students apply? When is the school year, or when is the intake cycles? And how soon should students apply if they want to go in a particular intake?
I mean, we have two main intakes. One is in March and one is in September.
March and September.
That doesn't mean that the studies start on the 1st of March or 1st of September. For example, for our September intake, we have our welcome week around the 20th of September, and then at the beginning of October the lectures start. So there's still a little bit time to apply, and I suggest if anyone is looking to study in Germany for this year, like in the next 4 weeks, if they start the application process, that's still a possibility. And for our MBA, we have 4 intakes. We have January, March, June, and September. And also we offer for the first semester hybrid teaching. Sometimes students have submitted their visa application, and then maybe 1, 2, 3 weeks they still have to wait, but they don't want to defer for 1 full semester. So they can do the welcome days online. They can start the first 2 weeks of lecture online, and then they can join in Germany. And the embassies are very open for this, so we give them extension letters that they can then immediately travel once they get the visa.
That's great. Talking about visas, there's one myth that a lot of people, it's not a myth, but it's one thing that readily comes to mind when you talk about applying for a German study permit, and that's what we call the block account. You know, tell us a little bit more about why do students need to have a block account? What is the block account? You know?
So to be honest, I think the blocked account is amazing because when students apply for the visa, technically they need to only show the blocked account money, which is 11,208 euros. And then
11,200.
208, yes.
Okay, 208,
and then they need to show that they have paid the deposit of 3,000 euros. Regardless, I recommend students to pay at least the first semester tuition fee, but usually it's fine, right? So they don't have to show an additional bank statement. But I think a lot of people are scared when they hear blocked account. They think, oh, my money is blocked, I don't get this back. No, this is not like this. The student's first year of living is fully covered with this. Every month. So the student travels to Germany, gets their visa, travels to Germany, then they open the German bank account. And with the enrollment letter, they can then get in touch with the blocked account provider, and they will send every month 934 euros to the student's account. That covers rent, living costs, the mandatory health insurance, Wi-Fi, going out occasionally, right? That really covers everything. So the student is safe for 1 year and does not struggle for cost of living money, right? And they don't struggle to pay rent. Because sometimes when students have to show a bank account and they borrow money and they have to give it back, then they sometimes struggle and they can't pay for their living costs anymore. And I think also for parents, this is very safe because the parents can be 100% assured that their child is being taken care of. And then when students find a part-time job, they basically earn around 960
you mentioned that.
Minimum, right? Per month. So we have a lot of students who then save that money for year 2. Right? And then you use this for your living cost in year 2. And then you save it for year 3. Let's say you have a bachelor's, right? Then year 3, and then you're done. And then you can find your full-time job. So the return of investment in Germany is really good. So you can get your investments back like maybe 2-3 years after your studies, right?
This point you've made is very, very important because it just kind of let people understand that money you're sending away, you're going to get that money back. You know, and it's good to know that at least from your part-time work during your studies, you can earn up to 960 euros. You know, a month. So that's probably really.
But
really
it's the minimum, right?
Yeah,
so
that's
we have
the
students
minimum.
who earn like
so you
50
can get more than
euros.
that.
We have students who earn 23 euros per hour. So it really depends. And also our graduates. So the average salary of our bachelor and master graduates is a little bit higher of the average starting salary from public universities, for example, because our students already have experience. So usually for bachelor students, the starting salary is between 38 to 60,000 euros per year, which is fantastic. 38 to 60,000. So the range is huge. And then master students, it can even go higher. So we have very successful master students who, like we have students at Tesla, at the sports club, like BVB, like Dortmund, at Sport 5 as like sport coaches, or L'Oreal, PwC, Deloitte. So we have students really with top positions, top senior positions in top like globally known companies. And this is what we are really proud of. So
Wow. From what you're just telling me, I feel like I'm just wasting my time here. I should be in Germany by now.
Exactly.
All right. So I think we're winding up now. It's been a very useful conversation, very insightful. I've learned a lot, from your submissions. You're still watching the Best Education Insight series. I hope you've also learned a lot as well. So is there any last words before you wrap up this session? I'm really very excited about this opportunity, and I hope that viewers will take this seriously and will begin to launch their application to the University of Europe through Best Education Services. Yeah, but let me just come to you if there's any last words you want to say. Yeah.
I mean, I can just say thank you so much for welcoming us here today, and I'm also very excited to be here, and I'm excited to get more students from Ghana, and I know that Best Education Services, I know your team is amazing, you are our trusted partners here. So any student that is interested in studying in Germany, so they will be fully taken care of when they come here. I know that. So, and I'm really looking forward to more students.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Like you said, if you do come to Best Education Services, you're going to be taken care of, and you can be rest assured that once you follow our advice, our counsel, present us with the documentation we request for, you are going to be successful, because that's why we're here to help you, to support you, to realize your dream of studying abroad and probably living abroad and having a fantastic career, overseas. So thank you so much for staying with us. This has been the Best Education Insight series. Please do watch out for the next edition. I promise you it's going to be wonderful. Thank you. Bye.